Some great speakers here coming here. So we're gonna get everyone over, setting up for the speaking part of this program. We got some of our brothers and sisters from various unions out here. We're gonna gather up here, so we'll give a second for everyone to kind of reassemble and get together. All sound good? All right. So, hey everyone, my name's Dan. I'm an environmental scientist and member of NTEU Chapter 280. 280 represents workers out of EPA headquarters. I'm here with the Federal Unionist Network, a cross-union, cross-agency group of federal workers organizing to support each other so we can best serve the public through each of our agency's missions. Now, all right, some of us work to keep the air clean and our water safe. Some take care of veterans or get you your mail. We protect your labor rights, we manage our public lands, and we make sure that our infrastructure is safe, and so much more. We've organized informational pickets today, not just here in Seattle, but also in New York City and Chicago. We got support and endorsements from union locals representing workers at the EPA, the VA, the Army Corps of Engineers, and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And we have endorsements and support from numerous other organizations and unions, both in the private and public sectors. So thank you to all these groups and to our union family for the support, and thank you to everyone out here for coming out here today. So right now we got an information picket line here, and we are exercising our First Amendment rights to advocate for safer workplace conditions, to protest the abuses of ICE, and to let the public know how ICE raids are impacting the ability of federal workers to serve the public.
That's right!
Now for some basic housekeeping here, before we hear from some of these workers, I want to highlight that we do have a police liaison available as needed. So if police are talking to you, direct them to come find the police liaison, all right? And then I also want to highlight that Carolyn, where you at? Is our primary media liaison. So to our lovely friends covering this media, one, thank you for coming out here and reporting on this, but Carolyn will be your point of contact. And yeah, so I think we're ready for some chants here. Oh, we got a hand right there, sorry.
Police liaison. The police will know.
The police,
Oh,
they'll figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah, if they can't figure it out, just point them over to us and then we'll get it sorted. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna have Liz is a federal worker in this building, and I'm gonna have her come up here to get us some chants. Oh, no. Chants. Okay, great. So I lied on that one. All right, we're going right over to, so speaking of our media liaison, Carolyn, who appears to have the media talking to her at this moment. Yeah. Or warming up on chants, you're going to Carolyn? Oh, all right. Let's get some chants going now while we get these things sorted out and save Carolyn's voice for when she has to speak. All right. Yeah. If you want to stand up here, stand up here.
All right. So chants and picket lines, classic tactics, finding a new day in this world that we're living in. So a couple of these chant sheets have been floating around. I have a few here. These are kind of call and response. So the first one at the top of the sheet, thank you. We're gonna start with, the crowd says, now we take a stand, and you're gonna say, no more raids, you won't silence us. So, we took an oath, now we take a stand. Our work is public, our cause is just, no more raids, you won't silence us. So you ready? All right, we took an oath. Our work is public, our cause is just.
No more raids.
Let's try that one again. We took an oath.
Now we take a stand.
Our work is public, our cause is just.
No more raids. You will silence us.
Thank you. All right, just to be very clear, I did not write these, but I stand by them. We're gonna keep at it, friends. All right, so this next one is a little bit shorter. Ice out now. This is public ground. You ready? Let's start with that. Ice out now.
This is public ground.
No more fear. We serve here. No more raids where we work.
No more
serve the people. This is fun. I have my own written ones. This is not the one. Okay, well, 2 more times at the very top. Ice out now, this is public ground. Ready? Ice out now, this is public ground. 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 Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. All right, so thank you for joining us on these chant sounds. Apologies, some of them are a bit harder to pick up quickly. I'll blame the folks in New York on that one. Much love to them, much love to them. Some of them came through a little better. All right, so first up then, do we have Carolyn ready to speak? Yes, all right, wonderful. Carolyn is a federal worker who works here in this very building and is here to talk about what she's been seeing.
I am a proud public servant, and I work in this building. What I do in this building is defend workers' rights. I uphold the right of workers to join unions and collectively improve their working conditions, including the right to be safe at work. When I meet with workers in this building, I tell them that they can talk to me in confidence, that I work for them, and that they are safe talking to me. So it is deeply wrong that ICE has turned my workplace into a war zone. A place where immigrant workers are kidnapped, where I and my coworkers risk being shot with chemical weapons as we come and go to work. No one's workplace should become a place of terror. And federal workplaces especially should be safe places. This building belongs to the people. It does not belong to masked kidnappers. When I became a federal employee, I swore an oath to uphold the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. I take this very seriously. ICE agents, on the other hand, are systematically undermining our Constitution. I am accountable to you, the American people. ICE agents are accountable to no one. I operate with a badge. ICE agents wear no badges. I give out my business card showing my name, my address, and my job. ICE agents hide behind masks. I have a supervisor you can complain to if you don't like my work. When ICE agents kidnap people off the street, there is no one to file a complaint with. I operate according to the rule of law. ICE agents make a mockery of the law.
That's right.
On May 20th, ICE agents began coming into the immigration court inside this building and arresting people when they came to court. ICE blocked anyone from the outside from coming in to see what they were doing. They wore gas masks inside my workplace. Later, they turned guns on protesters outside the building, shooting them with pepper spray. In other federal buildings, ICE agents have violently seized people just steps away from childcare centers. They have shoved federal workers, and they have stalked and surveilled federal workers of color who they think look like immigrants. In spite of their weapons and their masks, ICE is not all-powerful. In the face of protests here in Seattle, ICE had to back down, agreeing to let immigration advocates back in the building. After protests at this building got too hot, ICE had to take a break from kidnapping here. Pushing back against ICE saves lives. ICE agents are very clear about why they have to hide behind masks. They told the Seattle Times they couldn't reveal their identities because we have to live in this community. They know that they are at war with the people and that we won't stand for it. And we say, get out. We took an oath. Now we are taking a stand. This building does not belong to ICE. It belongs to we the people. And so I say, ICE out of my workplace. ICE out of all workplaces. Thank you. Let's have some chants now. Stop the raids, serve the people. 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 Stop the raids, serve the people.
Thank you, Carolyn. All right, next up we have David from the American Postal Workers Union. Give it up for David.
Thank you. Well, I think we all agree that workplaces should not be a place of fear. It should be a place where you go to work, where you could go as a patron to patronize government services and not have to worry about being abducted, not arrested, abducted by masked agents of the federal government. Those are not federal employees who have the best interests of the people in heart. The rest of the federal employees do. So back up and look at the big picture when the candidate Trump last year killed a bipartisan border bill so he could make a big election issue out of it. And once elected, he went hardcore against government employees who did not deserve that sort of treatment, that sort of scapegoating. He went after immigrants. And he claimed he was going against violent criminals, but everybody saw quickly that that was not the case. He's going against the mass of migrants who work for a living, who pick our crops, who take care of our elderly, who do jobs that nobody else wants to do. So why go so hard against immigrants? He's pandering to the white supremacists who are part of his base, who have this vision of America that's the way it was in the 1950s in Ozzie and Harriet, where everybody is white, where there are no brown-skinned people. This is ethnic cleansing. This has to stop. But we do have rights, and we do have rights under the Constitution, whether they choose to honor them or not. We have some defenses. Under the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution, which I never thought I'd be quoting to anybody, you have the right to say no to a search. Anybody has the right to say no to a search without a judicial warrant, a warrant signed by a judge, meaning not a warrant signed by an internal ICE administrator, which is what they're trying to fool people with. You have the right to not be searched unless a warrant from a judge is signed and presented. You have a right to remain silent. You have a right to restrict ICE agents' access to non-public areas of your workplace. You have the right to record any interactions with federal agents and release the footage. You have the right to inform others of the presence of federal agents. I got this off the internet. On the internet, it's at a place called fourthworkplace.org. That's the number 4thworkplace.org. And the best part of all is if you can get your workplace to pledge to protect staff and patrons from unconstitutional search and seizure and train your staff and your managers how to handle these situations. Those are important steps that you can take. In conclusion, resistance to injustice is necessary. We can reclaim sanity for our country. You are part of the solution. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, David. Give it up for David. And also give it up for Caroline. I forgot to tell y'all to give it up for Caroline, too. All right. Next up, from UAW 4121, we got Mateo. Mateo.
Hi, my name is Mattia. I'm a student worker at the University of Washington and a steward in UAW Local 4121. I'm here to... I see a few of our blue shirts in the crowd. I'm happy to be here with our members today. I want to talk a little bit about how ICE's crackdown and Trump's attacks on international students and immigrants have been affecting students at the University of Washington and across the country. Some of you might have heard about the cuts to research funding and the international student visa revocations. And this is something that is really striking fear in our members. When we have research funding being cut, that's leading to layoffs because we don't have the money at the University of Washington to pay for people anymore because Trump has decided that research into areas like infectious diseases and allergies and climate science aren't good for the American people anymore. But what happens when the University of Washington, which is trying to make it easier to lay off people, by the way, I'll come back to that. When you are fired and laid off from a research position or a teaching position and you're an international student on a visa, that means that you can't stay in the United States anymore. So these cuts to research funding have a disproportionate impact on immigrants at the University of Washington and on campuses around the country. Now our local represents 8,000 members. We represent academic student employees, postdocs, research scientists, and now research coordinators and consultants. Thousands of our members are international students or scholars here on a visa. So this is a major issue for our union, and we're fighting back. Like I said earlier, the University of Washington administration is trying to make it easier to lay off workers. We have it in our contract protections around how much notice you have to be laid off. For academic student employees, the University of Washington is trying to shorten that down to 7 days. That is not what is in our contract, and they tried to make that unilateral. But like I said, we're fighting back. We're filed a grievance, and we're taking this fight to the University of Washington administration. And we're going further than that. For international students, where the Trump administration is really trying to intimidate people. They are revoking visas. They are saying that if you're a Chinese student, you're not going to come to the United States at all. They're surveilling social media, and now with the travel bans, people are afraid to have to leave the country for work or to visit family. And the University of Washington is standing idly by. They have not said what they will do if somebody is detained by ICE until they send a policy to other workers on campus, but not to our members and not to our local. And that policy, I'm going to say it's worthless. We are having to go and bargain with them to try and improve it now. Because we saw the consequences when an SEIU 925 member working at the UW Medical Center, Lowell Dixon, was detained. The University of Washington didn't lift a finger for her. And I don't think that they're going to lift a finger for anybody else unless we make them. Now, I think circling around the crowd right now should be a few sign-on letters, because at the University of Washington, we've put together a coalition of people fighting, of students, faculty, and rank and file union members fighting for real, strong, concrete protections for immigrants at the University of Washington. What we need is actual, serious legal relief and defense for international students if their visa is revoked. We need strong protections for if somebody is detained by ICE so that they don't have to worry about losing their insurance, their job when they get out. And and most of all, we need a strong commitment from the University of Washington that when ICE comes on campus, they're actually going to do something about it. Right now, they aren't planning to notify anybody if ICE comes on campus or if ICE comes knocking on classroom doors. We need to know if ICE is on campus so that people can make the decision if it's safe for them to come to work or come to class. Now, these are things that we can win, but these are things that we can only win if we organize. This letter is a way for us to show the University of Washington administration that we have community support behind these demands. It isn't enough for their empty words anymore. We need action from them, and we need to show that hundreds and thousands of people are looking for this action from them. We're going to continue to put pressure on them by marching on the boss and telling them that we need these strong protections now so that international students feel safe coming to work and teaching classes and coming to class themselves. The Trump administration thinks that it can unleash war on higher education, and we're going to take it lying down. But I'm not going to take it lying down. I'm going to fight back against it until I'm out of here, until they drag me out. And I know that almost every member of my union will do the same. Money for jobs and education. Not for war and deportation. Money for jobs and education. Not for war and deportation. Money for jobs and education. Not for war and deportation.
All right, thank you for that. Everyone give it up. All right, next up we got Steph from the American Federation of Government Employees, Local 1110, representing EPA workers in the Pacific Northwest.
Woo! Thank you so much for being here. I'm Steph, and today I'll be reading a story on behalf of the Jewish Coalition for Immigrant Justice Northwest that coordinates with the Washington Immigrant Solidarity Network's hotline. They are very busy these days and couldn't be here in person, but they submitted a story to me and I love to share it with you all. 2 weeks ago, 3 accompaniment volunteers accompanied community member Manuel to immigration court inside this building. There were 4 or 5 men in uniform, 4 wearing dark cloth masks over the bottom of their faces, standing in the hallway outside of the waiting room of the courtroom where Manuel's hearing was held. Manuel had read a Know Your Rights form, but did not have a lawyer. The U.S. attorney moved to dismiss Manuel's case, saying that Manuel has no legal status in the U.S. Manuel said he needed time to talk to a lawyer. The judge said he wouldn't need a lawyer, that there won't be any case, and that he could pursue a request for asylum. Not understanding, Manuel asked the judge to repeat the information. Our volunteers feared that the judge misled Manuel as to what a dismissal of his case could mean in stating he could file for expedited asylum and seek a credible fear interview. Afterward, in the waiting room, the uniformed men, masked men, enter the waiting room without any introduction, seized Manuel, who was surrounded by supportive volunteers. The agents wearing Homeland Security Investigations Special Agent badges took Manuel out of the waiting room and toward the elevator and handcuffed him. Shame! A volunteer asked, "Where are you taking him?" One replied, "Outside." When asked, "And from there?" they got no reply. The volunteer put her hand on her heart, signaling to Manuel to show her care and concern for him. 2 other members from our community were detained by agents in the court's waiting room shortly after. ICE is disappearing immigrant community members, taking them to the Northwest Detention Center in Tacoma, where conditions are horrendous, with screws and maggots found in their food. No outside time, and no access to fresh air. People in detention don't know what time of day it is, as the fluorescent lights are on all night.
Shut it down!
and many people are sick with hundreds waiting to see a doctor and have very little access to medical care. That's just one of many stories and many instances of people in our community facing the terror that ICE is bringing about our community. I'm a federal worker. I'm a member of AFG Local 1110. I'm a naturalized citizen and came to the United States when I was 7 years old. As a federal worker, I'm speaking out against Immigration Enforcement Authority targeting people at federal facilities like Manuel. People need to access services in these buildings, showing up for important appointments, court hearings, job interviews, picking up checks, services that they pay for with their tax dollars. But now it feels like a trap. They might not be able to leave if they show up, even if they're here legally. The public has a right to access these buildings safely and these services safely. And we as federal workers have a duty to speak up when the public can no longer do that. This administration wants us to look the other way, but we will not. Thank you.
Thank you, Steph. Everybody give it up for Steph. All right, and next up we have Juliana from the Renton Education Association.
Thank you. I'm here with my union sibling from Seattle Education Association. Jennifer, that's all right, that's all right. So we are here to represent the fact that we teach all kids. The kids that come from other countries are our most treasured and valued classroom citizens. And I use that word citizen really carefully because it is a word that is being used to divide us. I'm going to start by saying that we know diversity is our strength in this country, and there's many differences in our knowledge base. We have different comfort levels in speaking out as educators, as voters, as human beings walking this planet. We have different political ideology, but we all are doing the same thing right now with balancing fear and hope. And as educators, knowledge is power, and we have devoted our lives to that fact. This is why Trump is attacking libraries, colleges, NPR, federal agencies, and is coming after all of us, but we are only going to let that happen if we let ignorance persist. Federal workers are like educators because they believe in information and truth and a better world, and we are working to serve that future. But our school staffs have become frontline defenders against ICE. And let's be clear, ICE represents the hate and the fear that only works when people remain uninformed. It's really hard to see some of our colleagues sticking their heads in the sand and not learning facts. There's such a diversity of awareness. But what can we do together is anything. And I want to name Llewellyn Dixon is released because labor, organized labor, why we're here today, but organized labor is the place where democracy is proving itself to be possible. So if you're not in a union, we still want you to know that labor is with you as a worker, and let's get you a union, yeah? Yeah, let's do that, let's do that. The scariest thing right now sometimes is this lack of awareness, and from those people that are up to the minute, detail focused on exactly all the things that Trump is doing to the people that know nothing about the overcrowded immigrant prisons with moldy food and no access to health care. All of these attacks on our human rights are ours. I'm a teacher. That is my attack when it's on my kids. We are not going to give up. And what we're asking you today is to look for your level of comfort, but please, these informational pickets have to continue. It is on all of us to educate our community, our friends, our neighbors, our family. And when you feel like the scariness and the fear is just overwhelming you, remember to take a minute, take a breath, and remember that the kids need you. We need you to stay informed. We need you to stay out here resisting to whatever level of comfort you have. And I can just say this, the more you do it, the more fun it gets, and the more radical you get, and the more the resistance actually wins. Don't stop.
Thank you to my fellow educator. So my name is Jennifer. I am speaking, I'll bring it closer. So I'm with the Seattle Education Association, but in this, for right now, I'm speaking as a community member. educators, education, our students, and our communities are under attack. We have heard accounts from schools all across Seattle that students are scared, families are scared, educators are scared. Throughout this entire, what has it been, 6 months, we've had weekly accounts of students being held home by their parents because either the students or the families are scared of going to school. They're scared of the walk to school, they're scared of the walk home. And with the recent news of graduations and school sites being under attack, the escalation has increased and the fear of our students and communities has also increased. At one school in South Seattle, there have been accounts of at least 5 families just in the last month who have contacted the school to inform educators that they have opted to self-deport. And that is just one school, and that is just in the last month. Shame. I'm a 4th grade teacher, so my students are 9 and 10. And I know students in my class and otherwise, as young as 9 years old, who have been worried about coming to school and who are telling their fellow students and their teachers. They will ask, is ICE going to come to our school? What are we going to do? When we do lockdown drills, as we do every quarter, it inevitably has come up. But not just us 2 educators, there's more in the crowd, more all around the city, state, and country. We educators stand firm and reject the attack on immigrants. We reject the presence of ICE kidnapping people in Seattle, a sanctuary city. Just like our first speaker said that this building belongs to the people, educators say that schools belong to our communities. We demand that our schools and communities are safe places. And we promise that as educators, as union members, we will find creative ways to protect our students, coworkers, and communities. As educators, we promise to teach our students about struggles against oppressors, just like this administration, and just like the criminal gang that is ICE. And we demand, as educators, that we retain the right to teach these truths. Because just like Mahmoud Khalil, who was kidnapped for speaking the truth about the genocide in Gaza, educators all across this country, including right here in Seattle, face repression, punishment, and imprisonment for teaching the truth. So to the Trump administration, and to Linda McMahon, the Secretary of Education, who does not know who Ruby Bridges is, we say that educators will fight back. The war on students, education, and the working class is from all fronts, and we commit ourselves as educators to bring these truths to light and fight back. So, money for jobs and education. Not for war and deportation.
Not for war and deportation.
Money for jobs and education.
Money for jobs and education. Not for war and deportation. Not for war and deportation.
Thank you both so much. Give it up for them both and for all our teachers and educators out there. All right, next up we have Tracy from AFGE 3197. All right.
Thank you. Hey everybody. It is so awesome to be able to be part of this critically important event. Can you hear me? Awesome. Okay. So my name is Tracy Simpson, and I'm a member of AFGE 3197, as you already know, and the Federal Unionist Network. And for 25 years, I have had the honor of taking care, I'm just going to try to not get choked up, but I have had the honor of taking care of veterans. So I want to tell you about I'm not going to give you a book report, I promise, but I want to tell you about a book I read last fall it's by Stacey Haynes, and it's called The Politics of Trauma. And Stacey Haynes argues that for people to thrive, we all need three things. We need safety, belonging, and dignity, right? Safety, belonging, and dignity. Three very basic things. She also makes the case that in the face of trauma, including political trauma, people are often forced to sacrifice one or more of these crucial needs, things that we all need. So I'm going to ask you to imagine for just a minute kind of a low-level situation. So think about a time when you've known what the right thing to say is, but you've bitten your tongue. You have not said it because the risk of rejection in the moment outweighed the hit to your dignity, right? Probably most of us can relate to that kind of situation. Well, what we're talking about today, the reason that we're gathering is not those situations. Those are not great. Egos can take a hit over time. But really, what we're seeing is that human beings with families, with dreams, with life stories are being forced day in and day out to make much greater sacrifices of one or more of these things. And I'm thinking about our immigrant siblings who have to live in the shadows because they're afraid of ICE, because they're afraid of being detained, because they're afraid of being separated from their families. We've just heard really heartbreaking stories about 9-year-olds in that awful situation. And just today, I learned about a veteran. His name is Sejun Park. And Sejun Park came to the United States when he was 7 with his family. He joined the military at 19, and he was badly wounded in Nicaragua in combat. He was shot twice. He has 2 Purple Hearts, and just the other day, he chose to self-deport. Because although shame, yes, absolutely. Although he was legally here in the United States, he, as a result of what he experienced in the military, developed very severe PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And he developed a substance use disorder behind that, and that led to some legal issues. He served time. He met his obligations. He was here legally. But ICE said, if you do not self-deport, we're going to deport you. That's right. So this is affecting hundreds of thousands of people, including veterans who served our country, were injured as a part of their service for our country. So hopefully it's clear by now what safety, belonging, and dignity have to do with our demand for ICE to leave federal workspaces and to stop the illegal seizures of our immigrant neighbors everywhere, right? It's pretty clear. However, you might wonder what all this has to do with federal workers. Well, as has also been made clear today, all of us took oaths to support and affirm the Constitution when we started our federal service. And I thought that it might be helpful. It's a little long, it's a little wordy, but I'm going to read you the preamble to the Constitution. Okay? So we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessing of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Right? It sounds good. It's a lot more words, but I think it's fair to say that the gist of this introduction to our Constitution is saying, essentially, that we, the people, want a country and a form of government that supports all its inhabitants' safety, belonging, and dignity. Right? So coming back again to federal workers, most of us show up day in, day out, and do the work we do in support of the common good and in support of everyone's safety, belonging, and dignity. And I hope you will take those 3 words, they're not just words, but take them with you and pay attention to when safety, belonging, and dignity need help, okay? But not all federal workers are showing up in this way. We know this. We have the terrible, dangerous situation here in Seattle and across the country of federal workers, ICE agents, who are hiding behind face coverings, not wearing badges. That's right, shame. Who are terrorizing our immigrant neighbors, family members, and friends. These federal workers need to get the message loud and clear from the rest of us, other federal workers, members of the military, veterans, and the public at large, that we will not stand by and watch this happen, right? We will not be complicit. We will intervene. We will bear witness. We will not shut up about what is happening. So to underscore our commitment to the Constitution and to serving the common good by stubbornly working for everyone's safety, belonging, and dignity, I'd appreciate it if you would join me in renewing the constitutional oath we took when we started our federal service. Whether you've been a federal worker or not, you can join this, okay? So the way we'll do this is that I'll read a short section of the oath, and then everyone who wants to can repeat after me, and we will take the oath together. And hopefully the wind will cooperate and I'll be able to read it. All right, you ready? Oh, all right, federal workers, if you want to come up here.
Federal workers and veterans, all of you that have done this oath, feel free to come up and join us here to renew this oath.
So, yeah, federal workers, veterans, any active duty, military people, whoever has needed to take this oath and willingly taken this oath. Awesome, thank you. This is great. What a good idea. All right, so is everybody ready? I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
I take this obligation freely.
I take this obligation freely.
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
Without any reservation or purpose of evasion.
And I will well and faithfully discharge.
I will well and faithfully discharge.
The duties of the office which I am about to enter.
The duties of the office which I am about to enter.
Awesome. Well done. Well done. Thank you. So just in closing, I want to do a secular blessing. So may we all stay strong and stand together and keep working for a country and a government that supports everyone's safety, belonging, and dignity. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy, so much for that. All right. And then, sorry there. All right, thank you everyone. Thank you again everyone for coming out. Thank you to my brothers and sisters that spoke today. Give it up for everyone that spoke. Much love to all of you. Thank you for coming out and speaking up. All right, that's right. So we are here advocating for safer working conditions and for the protection of public services, but also we are here in solidarity calling for basic humanity and respect. There are too many people that have been unjustly treated by ICE to name them all, but I do want to highlight a few that need all our support. Our advocacy does help. Sister Llewellyn is free now because of the tireless work that people across the labor movement and our allies here in Washington have done to advocate for her. I want to highlight that Tuan Than Phan is currently sitting shackled in Djibouti as ICE is deporting him to South Sudan, despite coming to Washington from Vietnam at the age of 9. Lelo Juarez Zeferino has long been a fierce advocate organizing farm workers here in Washington. He is currently detained down at the Northwest Detention Center in Tacoma after getting ripped out of his car by ICE back in March. Max Londonio with the Machinist Local 695 is also being held down there in Tacoma, suffering from the overcrowding and inhumane conditions at that privately operated detention center. When he sounded the alarm on these conditions, he got pulled into segregated custody. I also want to bring up David Huerta. He is the president of SEIU California. He was arrested while observing ICE activity down in Los Angeles. Thankfully, he has been released from custody due to the tireless support and advocacy from everyone in the SEIU across the labor movement. But he is still facing federal charges, and we need those charges dropped. So we can't be silent. We can't sit by without fighting this. We're demanding that our buildings for public service are kept safe and welcome to the public, that the rights of those speaking out against and witnessing these injustices be protected. We need an end to the militarized ICE raids and violent repression of protests. We need due process in our immigration courts. And last of all, we are here demanding that ICE stays the hell out of our workplaces and out of every workplace, all right? All right, thank you everyone for coming out here. Let's keep up this fight, all right? Shout out to Tech 17, thanks all for endorsing all my union brothers and sisters.
Thank you everyone for coming. Let's pick it one more time. Let's form a circle around this sign and do some chants. No